It's currently Monday, the 23rd of March, about 7 o'clock, and I want to do my daily recap. This is the Real Money Doctor's daily recap of events and how they affect you and your ability to get, protect, and enjoy. It's currently Monday, the 23rd of March, about 7 o'clock, and I want to do my daily recap. This is the Real Money Doctor's daily recap of events and how they affect you and your ability to get, protect, and enjoy your money, life, and retirement. And the biggest thing on everybody's mind right now, it's all over the news obviously, is the health situation. That's a real big concern. Right now the United States is the third largest number of corona cases, only behind China and Italy. Today the U.S. cases, diagnosed cases, were greater than 43,000. Okay, about a third of those are in New York State alone. Today, the deaths in the United States from the coronavirus have topped 533, and for the first time ever, we've had 100 deaths in one day. Okay, the total cases have doubled since Friday. Okay. Again, this is only Monday. From 43,000, they've doubled since Friday. Okay, cases have been confirmed in all 50 states. Stay-at-home orders right now are active or soon to be active in at least 15 different states right now, affecting well over 100 million Americans. Okay, this is all for non-essential workers. And again, you have to check locally what that means in your particular state and area. Again, some cities have restrictive situations, stay-at-homes, a little bit bigger and greater than some of the states have, but things are happening quickly in this area. Right now, it's pretty certain, seems to be a consensus among the medical people, that at least 40 to 80% of the population will be infected at some point in time. Now, just because you're infected doesn't mean you're going to die. What happens is, from the current data, and that could change, but from the current data, it looks like 98% of those that actually get infected recover with minimal side effects. So again, you've only got a small section of the population. Again, the elderly primarily. We did have one infant in one state that died already, but elderly and people with underlying health conditions that this is really bad news for and could end up being terminal. But for most people, again, you're going to recover like a bad case of the flu. Some people are going to recover, they didn't even know they had anything, but they're still carrying. Again, the coronavirus can live up to 9 days on inanimate surfaces, and the incubation period that you can carry it and not even have any symptoms at all could be as long as 14 days right now based on current information. My wife, Dr. Terry, went to the pet store today. We got a new puppy over the weekend. We've been waiting, and we found a nice puppy at a rescue situation. So we got a new puppy, and she went to the puppy store to get something. They stopped her as soon as she walked in the door, told her to stand on the X. Don't get off the X. And they would shop for her. So the stores recognize the fact that people can cough on things and then touch things, okay, or just cough on things in general. And that virus can live there, again, for up to 9 days. And then if somebody picks that thing up and carts it home, then they infect everybody else. Right now, vaccine is still at least 12 months out. There are currently some drug combinations that they're investigating that look useful for treatment. However, they're not there yet, and they're not going to be there anytime soon. This is not a 2 or 3 month situation that they're going to have these possible treatments and drug combinations ready to go for the general population. That's not going to happen. So just understand that and just live with that. Understand also that the age bracket that people are getting infected with is now primarily 18 to 49. In that bracket, there's still 53% reported cases. Of all the cases that are out there, 53% of them are in that 18 to 49 age bracket. So just because you're younger doesn't mean that you can't get sick or that you can't carry it. Okay, and if you carry it, chances are you're going to bring it home to your parents or someone else, or they're going to affect their parents. So it's a big cascading effect, and you want to try and stop it. That's why they've got the shutdowns the way they do and the stay-at-home orders. The personal protective equipment is still at a shortage, big time. People are trying to reuse. Nurses are being told to use a mask, keep it with you, take it home with you, which is ridiculous to take home with you, okay, for a week. Again, these were disposable items. These are supposed to be disposable items. And a month ago, if a healthcare worker tried to reuse a disposable item, they would have fired them. It's that dangerous to be doing that. So anytime you're trying to sanitize something that was supposed to be disposable to begin with, you're putting people at risk without a doubt in the world. Now, that covers the health situation. On the politics, Senator Rand Paul was diagnosed yesterday. His test came back positive. But on further investigation, what happened was rather interesting. Okay, Senator Rand Paul happens to be a doctor. He's a physician. And while he was waiting for his test results, he got tested, and he went out and still went to the Senate gym. He popped in the pool. Okay, he went to a GOP lunch with Senator Mike Lee and Mitt Romney. Right now, Senator Mike Lee and Mitt Romney are in self-isolation. This is someone who should have known better. He's a physician. He should have known better. He got his test, and before he got the results, he's out there in the Senate gym, which was locked. This is like a teenager breaking into the pool hall. Okay, it's ridiculous. Okay, he did these things and put other people at risk for no particular reason. Now, the president has a press conference every day with his coronavirus crew. Okay, he can be as optimistic as he likes. However, there is a certain amount of real information. If you followed these things at all, last week, Dr. Fauci was always there, always there. As of yesterday, he was missing. Today, he's not there either. And so the problem comes in where the president makes these statements about medical situations that are overtly optimistic or blatantly wrong, and now no one is there to correct the situation. So it looks as though Fauci's been sidelined, and you're not getting any real solid medical information coming out of the White House briefings. The testing in general has improved. The number of tests that have been administered has improved. The turnaround time has improved. However, the numbers are still grossly inadequate for what's going on. You still have to meet certain conditions before you're tested. This is not a, you want a test, you get a test. That never happened. That was never going to happen. They don't have that kind of testing. Okay, so if you have no symptoms, you definitely don't need a test. But if you've got symptoms, you still might not be able to get a test, just so you know what's going on. Now, the Defense Production Act was signed 3, maybe 4 days ago by the president. He has been reluctant to actually put it into effect. That act would compel manufacturers, U.S. manufacturers, to produce certain goods that are needed in a time of crisis. Right now, the president is shifting all that responsibility back to the states. The state governors are in competition with each other, trying to track down sources and bid against each other and FEMA for masks, gloves, and ventilators and other protective equipment, thereby jacking the prices up and making it harder and harder to get supplies. So that Defense Production Act needs to be signed. It needs to be implemented by the president, and he's the only one who can actually do it. For some reason, he's reluctant. Now, you may or may not like the president. I don't know. I'm not running for office. He is. He's got an agenda that I don't have. Okay? That Defense Production Act needs to be put in place. You talk to any medical professional, any governor, okay, they all say, yeah, it needs to be implemented now because they're having problems getting supplies. And they're bidding the prices up against each other for no particular reason. Now, I also mentioned a couple of days ago the Crimson Contagion simulation that occurred in January through August of 2019. I'm going to put the link to that again when I post this. It's on yesterday's link in YouTube. Okay. That's some real interesting reading because the government knew back then, because they ran it. It was President Trump's government. Health and Human Services ran the simulation of a group of tourists coming from China, getting to O'Hare, and then the gross incompetence and inadequate preparations that the U.S. has at this point in time. They were already shown in that study, in that simulation. They knew ahead of time. They knew in October that this thing happened, and they tried to bury it. So whatever you think one way or the other, it doesn't matter. There are certain facts, underlying facts that you just might not be aware of. Read the study yourself. New York Times and Chicago Tribune. Again, I will post a link. It's a very interesting read, something you should take some time and take a peek at. Now, no matter what anybody says, it's the actions that actually matter. Right now, the Senates have passed 2 stimulus acts already. There's a Tier 3 that they're working on. This is currently a $1.8 trillion act. It's the single largest stimulus package in the U.S. history. It hasn't passed. It hasn't passed for a certain reason, a number of reasons, quite actually. You have Democrats and Republicans both fighting, oh yeah, we need this thing now. And yes, we do. However, just the same way that the Tax Act got passed and it never really trickled down to the employee level or the individual worker level because the brakes went to the top 2% of the country and the companies got phenomenal tax breaks, did stock buybacks, increased executive bonuses, and increased dividends. That was all wonderful for them. But the workers got shortchanged on that, further increasing the income inequality. That situation has not changed. They want to make certain that doesn't happen again. So the Democrats are out there and they're working with Mnuchin off the sidelines, trying to get this thing negotiated so that there will be no stock buybacks. There will be no executive bonuses. There will be no dividends coming out of this money. The other thing is there will be a number of loans. They want much more transparency with this. The way the bill is currently written, people can get loans, government guarantees, the government can decide who gets those things, and no one knows what happened for another 6 months possibly. Now, the Democrats want this so that it shows up immediately, so they know immediately where the money's going. If you're going to take government money, there's some strings attached to it. It's just the way it is. And they want to make sure that everyone knows right up front what's going on. Now, we'll see what happens. It's not settled just yet. They're still working on it. Chuck Schumer and Steve Mnuchin are working on that in the background. The markets today, down another 582 points. They just hit 2016 levels. They hit the levels that they were in 2016. There has been a 37% drop in the market since its high in mid-February. Bank of America this year is already down 48%. Bank of America is down 48%. They didn't do anything wrong. It's just their stock has dropped 48% already. Now, right now, the market is on track to have the worst month since 1931. This is not going to go away anytime soon. It really isn't. How everything affects you at this point in time? Well, I said yesterday I wasn't certain about the number of hospital ships. There are 2 hospital ships that are being deployed. Again, they won't be handling COVID cases. They're there to take the burden off the existing hospitals. So those patients would be transferred into the hospital ships. The hospitals would then be open more for COVID cases. But they're still a week or 2 out. Okay? That's not going to change anything. One of them was just being retrofitted, basically. They had some major repairs. More states and cities are issuing stay-at-home orders. Again, I think there was 15 at this point in time. They have either issued the orders or they are about to issue the orders for stay-at-home. Okay. DAs and police departments are not arresting and are not prosecuting some nonviolent criminals. The court systems are pretty much shut down. DOJ has done some things in the background that don't look good for individual rights, which is not a surprise the way things have been going these days. More and more doctors and healthcare professionals are testing positive, which means you have more and more of a medical staff shortage. There are a number of volunteers that are signing up that have been retired, that are still licensed, but they're retired. They've been signing up, and they're increasing that pool, but it's nowhere near enough. Again, social distancing is there to slow things down. Okay, that's all it is slow things down. 40–80% of the population is going to be infected at some point in time. Okay? And all we're trying to do is slow things down so that the hospitals don't get inundated immediately with the great number of cases that they just don't have the people for, they don't have the ventilators for the critically ill ones. Now, we're only in day number 8 of the 15-day federal government plan to try and slow things down. The president is already trying to restart the economy and make it sound like at the end of 15 days, life is going to be rosy. It's not. It's not by a lot. You can't restart the economy because you haven't yet defined the problem. The medical problem is yet to be defined. We haven't reached the peak yet. The testing is not out there, so you don't know who's infected. This is not going to be done in 15 days. You can tell it's not going to be done in 15 days because schools are shut down for 2 and 3 more weeks. There's going to be major fallout from this. Okay, now's the time to sit back and reassess where you're at. And what happens right now, a lot of people they're home. They're home by themselves, they're home with the kids. They may have been out and gotten some food, but you don't know who you're running into along the way. Okay. This could be as long as 2 to 3 months. Expect at least a month, before we get to any close to a normal situation. In the meantime, there are tons of small businesses, and the government's definition of small businesses is under 500 employees. Mine, because again, I've got a history of definitely working with small businesses, 0 to 6 employees, my idea is a little bit different than the government idea. But all these people, they all run, excuse me, on a cash situation. People are running paycheck to paycheck. Businesses run from month to month. If they don't have income coming in, they have problems meeting expenses. So the bailout is supposed to take care of those things, but unless the money gets to the workers, it doesn't much matter. The workers will just get stuck with a bill down the line, as they did with the tax breaks. So right now, a lot of people are looking, okay, what can I do? I'm at home. What can I do right now? What can I do today to at least amuse myself? You look at your retirement plans for starters. That's an important thing. Okay. You really need to take a peek at those things. Where are you currently invested? Is it time to liquidate some of that stuff? Is it time to change it out into cash? At least do that much, because the market is still not bottomed out just yet. Will it sometime? Yeah. Okay. Are there major bargains here? Yeah. Okay, but we don't know how much further it's going to go down, so we don't know how much of a bargain it actually is. A lot of people are looking, and they've been looking before this, okay, how do I start some type of a side business? What am I going to do? Okay, if my plan A doesn't work and it's not working right now, what can I do? So yesterday I mentioned that I'm going to cover, okay, my 10 ideas of an ideal business. Okay. Before I do that, I want to make certain that you understand a lot of people are isolated at this point in time. A lot of isolation that they're not used to. They can't go out to lunch with friends and family. They can't go out to dinner with friends and family. They're not meeting coworkers. All these things are happening. And that sense of isolation is devastating for a lot of people. So you need something to do to keep your mind off of things. A daily journal is not a bad thing. It really isn't. What's different now than it was last week, from last month? How are you feeling? Why are you feeling that way? Talk to your friends. Give them a call. Call mom and dad. Call your grandparents. Touch base with them. They were isolated before. They're really isolated now. I mentioned a free course from Yale on the science of well-being. That's worth taking a peek at. Now, in addition to that, I found a site, I'm going to post it later on. There are 450 Ivy League courses that you can take online right now for free. Give you some chance of building some of your job skills. Now, I wrote today in an email, in a daily post, that life is sort of like a poker game. When you walk into the game, you don't know what cards you're going to be dealt. Totally by luck. You don't know what happens. But anybody who's skilled at poker understands, no matter what the cards are, if you've got certain skills, you're going to win in the end. So the idea is to increase your skills along the way. Things happen. This is a bad hand, without a doubt in the world. Are we all affected? Yes, we're all affected. It's just a bad hand, though. But if you've got the job skills, you know at the end of things, you're going to come out okay. So go back. Okay, look at your job skills. Do you need a plan B? Probably. Okay, there are tons of things to do out there. Okay, one of them, again, is starting your own business. And I wanted to make sure that we touched on that. And again, there are 10 key points to an ideal business. And this is nothing new. I've had these for a while now. I posted these on my website back in 2015? 2005, actually. 2005. I posted these on my website. 10 keys to an ideal business. The first one was you can run it from home. It had to have low overhead. Overhead is a killer for businesses. Absolute killer for businesses. So you want something with a low overhead. Something that had no set hours. That's a real big plus because you don't want to be locked in, especially if you're in your retirement years. You don't want to be locked in. You want to generate some income, but you don't want to be locked in to set hours. Okay, you don't want to have to open a physical store to be able to do those things. The other thing, it should have no inventory. You don't want large sums of money sitting on a shelf. Any type of retail operation, you have to buy these things, mark them up, and hopefully someone will buy them from you at a higher price than what you paid for them. If they don't, your money's sitting there in the inventory. So it had to have no inventory. The fourth thing is it needed no special skills. You want a business that you can start with basically no special skills. You don't have 15, 20 years to go study medicine to be a doctor. You don't have 5 years to learn how to be a mechanic or a lawyer. Okay, so what can you do that doesn't require years and years of school or special training? Now, the other thing I thought was really important for an ideal business was not to have employees. Employees are nice. Somebody needs to work. But if you're an employer, you're starting your own business and you have employees, they are overhead. They're not 100% dependable. When you have an employee, it's not another one of you. It is a quarter of you and 3/4 of their family problems. And if you're a current employee, think about that. Okay? Your employer hired you to do a job, but how much of your family problems are you bringing in to work with you back when you used to be able to go to work? So an ideal business would not have any employees. Sixth thing it would have would be little to no government oversight or interference. You don't need the government telling you what to do on a daily basis. So that would be important. It has to have low startup costs. That would be number 7. You don't have tons of money to put into a new business because most new businesses fail anyway. So you want really, really low startup costs. Now, number 8, it had to be at least neutral, okay, and morally good for society. It doesn't have to be great. You're not trying to change the world, but whatever your business is, it should at least be morally neutral so it doesn't harm anybody. Okay. The other thing is you want to be able to sleep at night with it. You don't have to have a business that you're so proud of that you want to be waving the flag constantly, but you want to make certain that whatever you do, you're providing goods and services that you can be proud of, that you can tell your kid, oh yeah, that's my business. I'm going to leave this business to you. I'm going to show you how to run this business. Not all businesses are like that, but that's one of the criteria, I think, for an ideal business. And 10th and most important, it needs to be able to make money long term. You're not looking for a quick buck, okay? You're not going to have the next pet rock and make $1 million in the first year and then nothing. Okay, it has to be sustained over a period of time. And you want to be able to have a business that does that. Now, those are my 10 key points. And if you can watch this again, write those things down. I'll try and get a link, or I'll post them actually in the YouTube when I post it later on YouTube later on today or tomorrow. But those are 10 ideal points to an ideal business. That would be key. Now, you're going to get through this. A lot of people are getting through this right now. They're not particularly happy, but they are getting through. And you'll get through too. What can you do in the meantime? Give some thought to that. If you've got questions or concerns, okay, email me, okay, private message me, and I'll see what I can do to answer those questions on another call, on another show. Not a problem at all. If I can help you with your plan B, that's great. Okay, you can go to drrousenow.com and take a peek at what I've developed, what I think is an ideal business. May not work for you, I don't know, but you can take a peek at it. I can't let everybody in. Again, I'm retired. I don't want to work too hard, but I did want to get this out so that you knew what was going on and you'd know that you do have options available. So what else can I do for you? Not everybody has Netflix. Some people do. Some people have the Apple TV little toy thing. If you get the internet, you can, again, log in and look at 450 Ivy League courses. I'm going to send you the link for that. Look at the Crimson Contagion article. Really interesting reading. If you wanted something else, you can also go to Shakespeare Online. I'll put the link on there, and you can watch some Shakespeare online for free. And Fox Entertainment also has some free movies and shows that you can watch on the internet. So you've got some things to do. Okay, you will get through this. The next couple of weeks, couple of months might not be exactly pleasant, but again, the luck of the draw, the cards you were dealt are just here. You can't change those things. You can change the level of skill that you have when you deal with those things. And Kenny Rogers said it in his song, you have to know when to hold them, know when to fold them. Okay, some things you just can't change, and you just call it a day. But you have to have the skills to be able to do that. And those skills, now is a good time to get those skills. You're stuck at home, possibly, okay? Do those things now. Get some extra job skills, look at a plan B, see what you can do for you. And then hopefully I'll see you tomorrow. Again, 7 o'clock, just about Eastern time. And then I'll see if we have any questions, and I'll try and answer them at that point in time. But again, thank you. I look forward to seeing you then. Bye now.